Today, I'll be looking at the powerful myth that's keeping people trapped in jobs that they're ready to leave. After almost 15 years of helping people retire, I've watched this retirement lie repeatedly delay retirement plans for those who are more than ready to leave their jobs. And that's exactly why I'm making this video today, to expose the big retirement myth that might be what's standing between you and your retirement freedom. My name's Justin. I own a financial planning firm in Pennsylvania where we work with clients from all over the country, helping them retire, helping answer these types of questions. And what we're going to do today is I'm actually going to share with you a case study with a client that I worked with where we helped them solve this exact problem. So let's get right into it. So what makes people stay trapped in the overspending and delaying retirement cycle? Well, most people are caught in this, what we call the one more year trap. And that can turn into 1 more year, 2 more years, 3 more years. They think that I just need 1 more year of saving and then I'll do it. And even if they don't, even if they have plenty of money saved, and a lot of this is just simply psychological and just having that natural fear of stepping into the unknown. And if you've been working at a particular job or had a particular profession for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, it's really tough to go from losing that identity and then going into retirement. So that alone can help delay a lot of this as well. But the real big problem is that most people tend to believe that they need way more than they actually do for retirement. And I mentioned this in another video. If someone has $1 million, they think that they need $1.5 million or $2 million. And if someone has $2 million, they think they need way more. So no matter what level of wealth you're at, if you're watching this, people who have more than you think that they need way more, and people who have less than you also have the same problem. So you're not alone. But what's really happening is that they're trading irreplaceable time for money that they likely don't really need, and in all probability, they'll never end up spending. And in reality, they could be retired or look at retiring 2 to 3 years earlier. Now, if that makes you excited about the possibility of retiring sooner than you thought, and you want to know exactly when you can confidently make the transition, click the first link in the description to fill out a quick questionnaire. It's totally free. After you do, I'll send you a personalized video with step-by-step instructions to help you retire on time. And what do most people believe about working longer? Well, here's the big retirement lies. Number one is that more savings always equals more security. That's definitely not the case, because you could be toiling away for extra years, just putting more money into savings, but your job could be really high stress. It could be breaking your health down. And I've seen this happen with some people, negatively affecting their health. And then once they actually do retire, then they get hit with a bunch of health problems and they can't enjoy their retirement and they can't enjoy the wealth that they built. The second big lie and the second myth that people believe is that, well, 1 more year of work can't hurt. And this is especially true for those who have high incomes, because that high income can be a big trap and keep you trapped into retirement, even if you already have more than enough to retire, because the thinking goes, well, 1 more year can't hurt. I mean, I'm saving a high amount of money. That's another year of savings. I'm saving another 50, 60, 70,000, whatever it happens to be. But the problem is that you are giving up extra time that you cannot get back. That time is irreplaceable. The real truth is that these lies cause people to miss prime retirement years pursuing unnecessary wealth. And they're sacrificing precious time that can't be bought back. And what we don't want to have happen is that they come to the realization 10 to 20 years later that the extra money that they saved wasn't worth the time that they gave up. Because what actually happens in working with retirees, eventually they come to the realization that the real wealth that they have is the freedom over their time. And you might hear other people say this as well. If you listen to wealthy people talk or multimillionaires or billionaires, they'll say the money and the wealth that I've accumulated, it gives me freedom and control over my time. It allows me to spend my time in the ways that I want to spend it. And that's what the real wealth is. And it's not really about money anymore. And I've heard that echoed too by people that I've helped retire, that money can be earned, but time only moves in one direction. And that your wealth is ultimately going to get converted into time, either by you or by the person that inherits your money, right? So that's a very important concept to internalize as you approach retirement planning, that Money is one thing, but time is the most valuable commodity, not necessarily the money. And the memories and experiences that you miss can't be bought back, right? Nobody on their deathbed wishes that they worked another 2 to 3 years, right? I haven't seen that in any Chicken Soup for the Soul book that I've ever read. That's just not in there. It's always the opposite, right? They're saying they wish they had retired earlier, that they spent more time with family and friends, and that they weren't as obsessed about money. And that's what I've always found to be the case as well. And of course, when you look back in 10 to 20 years, you won't wish that you had more money. You'll wish that you had had more time with your loved ones, with your family, with your children, pursuing things that you enjoy, your hobbies, spending money on your values, all those types of things. Now that you've seen why trading time for extra money can lead to regret, let's look at one person that I worked with and help them transform that mindset and break free from the oversaving and delaying retirement cycle. And so for this case, we're gonna talk about Doug. And Doug was 58 at the time. And the challenge that he was facing is he was caught in that one more year trap. And he had already saved way more than he needed for retirement. And he knew from the numbers that it was very unlikely that he would ever run out, but he just couldn't bring himself to get over the hurdle and everything that went into it and having to make that adjustment. He was having a really difficult time with it, and he was missing opportunities with family pursuing extra savings because he thought, well, I'm making a really high income, so this isn't the end of the world. I can at least put more away. But of course, what he was missing was time with his kids, missing sporting events, missing family time, delaying that vacation to another year. So those were the precious things that he couldn't make up. He was maximizing his savings. He was putting the max every year in his 401k. And of course, he was earning a high salary as well. He was making over $300,000 in his position. So again, that was another thing that kept him trapped because that income was a security blanket. And here's how we helped him break free from this psychological barrier. So we created what we call a life-focused plan, where we're intentionally valuing his time and matching the money to the values that were important in his life. So we have certain exercises that we use that we can help clients go through to help align money with value. So instead of just looking at the numbers, we're looking at, okay, what does this money mean for you? And what does this get you to achieve and enjoy in your life, instead of just looking at the normal financial planning software of this is how long your money will last and all that stuff. In this scenario, Doug already knew all of that stuff. It was the other part that he was having trouble internalizing to make this change. And then most importantly, we also wanted to make sure he had something to retire towards. So it's great to have something to retire from. And that's mostly the scenario that I find. It's, hey, Justin, I got to get out of this job. It's stressing me out. I hate it here. I want to retire. And it's great to retire from something, but if there's nothing to retire towards, that's where we see the cases of people getting depressed, just getting bored, not feeling like they're living a life that has meaning. So having something to retire toward was important for Doug, and for him, it was being able to establish a coaching business that he had interest in, but he just never had time to do it. So that's something he was excited about and he could move towards and pursue. And we also made sure to understand and go through all the financial data and numbers as well. So he knew that it was really very, very, very unlikely in his case, given his spending habits and needs and the fact that he was already very financially knowledgeable, and he didn't have any trouble with spending or saving. So just letting him know and giving him that assurance that it is extremely unlikely that he was going to run out of money over time, that helped him over the hurdle as well. Once he realized that it was extremely unlikely that his money was going to run out, he could psychologically adjust from accumulating to decumulating and then having to see that balance go down a little bit. And I find that's a sticking point for a lot of retirees as well. You spend decades accumulating and watching that money build, and that feels good, right? We want to see our wealth going up. So it can be very hard to flip the switch and go the other way and intentionally enjoy the money, but watching that balance go down and drop a little bit as you start spending money and making withdrawals. So that can be a psychological barrier to overcome. So that's something that we addressed specifically with Doug. and worked on it so he could actually realize that, hey, I'm going to feel this, but it's okay. This is part of the plan. And he could get over that barrier as well. So now that we were able to develop that balanced approach for Doug, he was able to make that transition, and now he is much happier, doesn't have the work stress. He had some health problems that were developing that have totally gone away now, and that's what really matters. That's the outcome we really want, right? We don't want you to have health problems and stress trying to get to that retirement finish line, and then once you're over it, not be able to enjoy it. So now Doug's able to focus on the things that really matter, and that's what's most important. So now that you know what some common retirement misconceptions are that could be keeping you in the workforce unnecessarily, you can break free from what might be holding you back. And from talking to countless people, helping them through this, understand their true retirement readiness, I've discovered that shifting these beliefs often reveals retirement possibilities that at first seemed out of reach. And that's why I put an entirely free questionnaire that will give you personalized insights about your retirement plan. It walks through the exact same process I use here with Doug, and at the end of it, you'll get a video from me personally guiding you through the next steps towards planning a successful retirement. To take it, just click the link in the description. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.